Welcome to the big story. Today, we're asking a big question with real life consequences: academic excellence versus all round development. How do we strike the right balance in modern education? In developed nations of the world like Finland, Canada, Mexico, and sometimes Sweden, and the United Kingdom, education goes beyond grades. Students are encouraged to explore sports, leadership, creativity, and critical thinking alongside academics. But in Nigeria, success is still largely measured by certificates, CGPAs, and test scores. So are we preparing students for life or just for tests? Nigeria prides itself on academic excellence, but many graduates struggle with leadership, communication, and adaptability. In contrast, developed nations of this world deliberately build these skills through clubs, student media, sports, and volunteerism. To unpack this morning, I'm joined by Chief Olashile Ogunrinu, the 37th President of the Union of Campus Journalists, University of Ibadan, and the XY National Chief of the Kegates Club, National Headquarters, University of Ibadan. Welcome to the show, Chief O.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, so let's get started. When I saw you, I was asking questions as to what exactly some of the things you've done, because I have seen from our recent conversation that you wear many caps. And I'm a bit surprised you didn't come in a regalia today. We could have made some more vibes to that. But let's have the conversation of saying you're a recent graduate from the University of Ibadan.
Yes.
Something to be happy about, the prestigious Premier University.
Definitely.
But let's talk about this. When you first arrived on campus, what kind of education did you meet?
All right. Thanks so much for having me on the show again. Coming to UI then, yes, we got admitted into the university in 2021, but we couldn't resume until 2022 due to some lags in the academic calendar. So when we came on board then, education in UI, like most people know, is UI. So it's always book, book, book. In fact, it is tagged that the University of Ibadan doesn't have a social life, and that the biggest social event in UI is still an academic event because we have JOWO, and that's like a debating competition, and that's the biggest social event in UI. So how it is then was like everyone just come to back the degree and just focus on the academics and a lot. But I think I've always known that I want to get develop around, yeah, so to say, because personally I don't think I'm just someone that want to sit in a single role and focus on. I want to explore as much as I can. So that's what prompted me, because as a Pan-Africanist who believe that the African cultures must be promoted, I venture into the Kegates Club, the University of Ibadan National Headquarters, and also because I'm a passionate lover of writing, journalism, I also joined the Union of Campus Journalists, University of Ibadan then. So
We'll get into those conversations in a minute, but first let's take us back to school. Some persons did not get the opportunity to attend University of Ibadan, for example. We've seen people who attended some other schools, polytechnics, colleges of education, but you have been in the know because you, of course, are a student and you just finished from university. You've seen how it is. Do you think the academic structure allows for you to do many things, to start with?
yeah, I mean, generally looking at it, the Nigeria academic system there is still a lot of improvement that needs to be made, because the whole curriculum is still structured in a way that you can hardly do some other things except the
But
academics.
you did other things. That's
Yes,
exactly why we have
and-
here.
and it comes at great sacrifice and a lot of extraordinary going beyond the normal. Because why most students would have been comfortable staying in the loop and just do the academics only, I think if you the system does not really permit, because especially now we're having the shortest academic calendar in the history of the University of Ibadan, like really fast, to make up for the years lost to strike and all those. So it's really fast nowadays. So if you are just like the just concluded session in the University of Ibadan, a lot of student organizations have issue planning their election, their dinner, because they couldn't make how to navigate the academic calendar. So it's really still kind of challenging trying to venture into other things that are not really academic, but then it is not impossible. I mean, you can still do things, you can still explore into things that you think will enrich your knowledge, even as a student of the University of Ibadan. Because yeah, despite how challenging it is, we have a couple of students who are really doing well in other activities that are not even their academics. So yeah, I wouldn't say that it's impossible, but then the current structure of the academic does not really permit an inclusion of activities that are not academics.
Let me put you right on the spot again, and no apologies for that, because we understand how competent you are for this kind of conversations. You are the president of the UCJ. UCJ is very important in the University of Ibadan. I mean, if you attended the University of Ibadan, you understand how important it is. You are also the chief, the leader of the Kegaite Club, the national headquarters, that's the University of Ibadan. Those are like two different camps. They are like contrasting camps. Some would say they are mutually exclusive, because for a lot of persons, you can't do the two. You can't eat your cake and have it. You can be someone who is a journalist writing and doing academic stuff and still do social activities that you need to travel. Tell us about that. You've been to many states, many universities. Name the university. Maybe just tell us the figure so we can understand where you're coming from.
Okay, yeah, I mean, about the schools I've been to for the Kegaite, I've been to places like Federal University of Technology, Mina, in Niger State, like the Federal Polytechnic, Bida, that's also in Niger State, University of Ilorin, Kwara State Polytechnic, Federal University of Abeokuta.
In total, how many?
I mean, as a Kegaite chief, I've been to at least more than 50 schools.
More than 50 universities or campuses?
Campuses, because we have polytechnics that are also Ilias. We call branches of the Kegaite Club Ilias in their school. So I've been to all these places.
Have you been to Iliadu Timber?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so I'm saying that because it's personal to me. But let's get on.
Okay.
So how did you manage that movement with school and then with UCJ?
Yeah, because even in the UCJ, the Union of Campus Journalists is like the #1 hotspot for breeding the next gen campus journalists in the mainstream, because a lot of the product of the UCJ are basically the one holding forth in the media industry, from the likes of Fisayo Oshiyombo, who is our 28th president. I am the 37th. So we have a lot of people like that, the likes of Laolo Akonde and many other people. So how we run the UCJ is, also as the president, I made a lot of trips to our alumni, to our corporate partners and all this. So I'm making all these trips while also making the trips of the Kegaites. Also, as the UCJ president, we have ACJOAU, the Association of Campus Journalists. I've been there. I've been to many other campuses where to participate in discussions, conversation on campus journalism in all the school. So, I mean, it's a lot of trips, it's a lot of travelings, but then I think it's because I've set my heart to it that I want to do this. I mean, that's because I don't like venturing into an endeavor and eventually trying to fail or shaking out. I don't. But at some point, it can get really conflicting. I actually will resigning at some point. Yes. I wanted to resign from the UCJ at some point. This is really shocking me. But a couple people spoke to me on the reason why I think I need to do this.
Okay. So, I mean, someone is waiting to ask you a question. I would help the person now. The person is asking, did you finish well from the University of Ibadan?
Definitely, definitely. And like I said, we are still
Definitely means 2-2, third class.
No, no, no.
What, I mean, just explain
I mean,
details.
the thing is, the Senate is here to sit on our results, but if coupled with, I'm doing one of the groundbreaking and a novel research for my long XA. I'm actually working on climate change and journalism, which is basically really new.
It's a novel area.
In the Nigerian mainstream media. So I'm doing an important work there. So I hope if my sacrifice and dedication to that is well merited, I think I can be back on first class. So yes.
That's incredible. Someone is saying you can say that again.
Yes.
Because for you to man up, you wear many caps, different caps, contrasting, some would say, and then you still finish with, or you are aiming to finish with your first class.
Yeah,
that's quite something to talk about, really. But let's talk about your parents. When you told them, maybe mommy, when you told mommy, I'm a chief or I'm doing care guides, because a lot of people believe social clubs are just for, tantrums to play or to create nuisance and community.
Yes.
Some would not even associate with anybody that comes from there to say, yeah, member of the KGT. So what? I'm not talking to you because I feel like you are going to be a bad person because you drink.
Yeah.
So that's more like, what everybody knows is all about palm wine, it's all about alcohol and all that. So because they drink palm wine, they just dance around, they don't really focus on school. But you've done so well for yourself now, for example. And you're going to be one of the few examples we have to spotlight with extracurricular activities, especially in the Nigerian education sector. Now, your parents, you spoke to your mom, and what was her reaction?
Yeah, so yes, my mom is actually a single mother. She's been responsible for my education and all. So yeah, when I told her I want to join the Kega's Club, like most African parents, like they started coming with all these reasons. What is that? Why do you even want to do that? But one thing is, I'm always glad about that. She knows me well, yeah, so I can say that. And she know I wouldn't venture into something that is not adding to my life, that is irrational or something, because I always think it through. I always try to be rational as I can be in making my decisions. So she came with the normal misconception, okay, Kega is Club Artist, and I patiently sat her down to re-educate her on this misconception. The Kegite Club cannot be a cult group because this is the University of Ibadan, and the University of Ibadan has very strict policy against cultism, to the extent that you can't even exchange punches while on the campus. Anyone that tried that is going, no matter how angry you are in the University of Ibadan. So the University of Ibadan has a very strict policy against cultism, and the Kegite Club in the University of Ibadan is like one of the most recognized social club on campus, because aside from the student union, no other student organization has a permanent structure in the University of Ibadan. Whenever, be it fellowship, be it all this, whenever they have an event, they have to go and rent maybe a hall of residence, common room, a library. So they have to rent somewhere. But the Kegite Club University has a very large piece of land.
Very, very close to the entrance of
Zik right there at Zik entrance. So the Kegite Shrine is permanently located there. If you look at the official map of the University of Ibadan, Kegite Shrine is well identified there. So the club is well recognized in the University of Ibadan. And UI will never tolerate a cultist group. So she came, they are always academics, subpar, they are not intellectual. I told her that is not true. In fact, as the chief in the University of Ibadan, when you want to see me at night, I'm always at the senior staff club. And in the University of Ibadan,
senior staff club.
Yes.
How did you gain entrance into that?
That's what I'm saying, because a lot of these scholars in the university, they are Kegite.
So they allow you in?
I am their chief. They have to allow me in here.
Even the professors? You are the chief for professors?
Oh my God, you need to see my interaction with these people. I am the chief. Okay, just a few days ago, I was at the staff club and I was greeting them. And they were reminding me, about 3 of them at the same time, that you are the chief. It is not that you have been rude, but when we greet you, cannot bow.
That you should not bow for
Yes,
professors.
for them,
In
because
the
as
University
the
of Ibadan.
yes, because as the chief, you cannot bow for anyone. They have to bow to you. That's the culture of the club.
Okay.
So
Let's not do so much PR
yes,
but let's get into.
But what I'm saying is, talking about this guy, they are not sound. A lot of all these professors, like really sound one. In fact, the Kegai Chief Alajelono in 2017, yes, academic session, he was the best graduating student from the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. He was a Kegai Chief and one of the Kegai Chiefs, past Kegai Chief, I'm really closely. So, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Ibadan is a Kegai, Professor Lakwiga. So we have a lot of people who are really sound. But at the moment, I can count more than 10 head of departments in the. So talking about not being these people, and about you want to join because it's an avenue to just get drunk and drink. I can count more than 10 chiefs who have been chiefs before me that don't take palm wine. They don't take palm wine, talk less of taking alcohol. So we have a lot of people like that who doesn't even take all this thing. And maybe it's an avenue to just be religious, to not be. No, that's not true. We have people who are strictly afas, who are kegait. We have people who are pastors, who are. So I just try to patiently lecture her and educate her on this thing. And so far, since I've joined, since then and now, she knows I've not picked any vices, I've not, so
All right.
So we are really good.
Okay, so you quite mentioned something, but let me put you on the spot very quickly, briefly. You mentioned that it's not an avenue to join a cultist club.
Yes, definitely.
Are there cultists in Kegai's club?
No.
I mean, you might need to maybe simmer, let it simmer before you answer.
Okay.
Are there cultists in Kegait?
No.
Okay, is there a chance for anybody to be a Kegite and still be a
Has to
cultist?
That, in fact, the policy is that we have a system of expulsion of members, and we call it dekegation. So if someone is suspected to be a cultist, it will be dekegged. The case will be taken to the school management.
Disciplinary committee?
Yes, to investigate, and if proven, the club will be willing to go at any length to pursue it with the courts.
Now, okay, so get me into this. When you were about becoming the president of the Kegite Club,
Chief.
what was the requirement? Was there anything like your academic performance?
Definitely, because the process of transitioning the Kegite Club, we don't do elections in the Kegite Club. So what we have is an elder sitting. So the elders who are going to be sitting at the graduating students, they will sit and pick from the penultimate student who the next chief is going to be. So, and weeks before the sitting, all the penultimate students are going to be made to submit their transcripts, their academic transcript. So they have to, academic strength is one of the most important requirements.
So what I'm trying to put together is that it is almost as good as saying if you want to join extracurricular clubs and activities, you must be sound. And the two does not have to be against each other. It doesn't have to be that you are sound academically, but you are poor socially. And it doesn't have to be you are antisocial, but you are good academically. Yeah. But let me get into this. You know, in Nigeria, generally, academic success seems to be the order of the day, seems to be our priority. And it's often reduced to grades and CGPAs, you know, and sometimes certificates. And as someone who has just finished from the University of Ibadan, do you believe academic excellence alone truly prepares graduates for life after university?
Yeah, you are right. The notion in the larger society in Nigeria is that it's only about CGPA and grades, but actually that's not the case. Yeah, both are supposed to be complementing. Yeah, you cannot afford to be focused on one, because I've witnessed when people say there is no job in Nigeria, you can graduate with first class and still get none. But I don't know. I'm always of the opposite notion, because I believe there is no how you can be sound academically and also extracurricular wise, and you find it hard to do something after school. Because yeah, I mean, I've witnessed a lot of people who are really big on academics and still do very well in extracurricular activity, and I think it has helped them a lot. So because you can't afford to, it's a big problem, yeah, because we've seen a lot of people who are always on first class, but their communication skill, interpersonal skill, and all that is really poor. But you can't thrive, yes, based on just one. You can't thrive based on just one. You have to complement it.
Complement.
Yes, because participating in extracurricular activity is going to give you all the real life application of whatever you are studying. The Kegite club in the University of Ibadan, under my leadership for this session, has about I think 50 something members. The Union of Campus Journalists has about 1,000 members. So I mean, you getting to lead, interact with these diverse people from different background, different experience, is going to put you under all kind of pressure that you may think, and you having to surmount it, you having to achieve, execute all the thing you want to, is definitely going to prepare you. Especially multitasking, just like I.
Okay. I mean, sorry, before
Okay.
you get in, and I'll tell you why I'm asking this.
All right.
When you mentioned multitasking, that was the next question I was going to put to
Okay.
you. Many students have complained in the past that it's so difficult for them to face academics and face something else. Some would even go as far as saying, I cannot have a boyfriend while in school. Others have advised people not to have boyfriends in schools because they feel they will be distracted. You know, that place of distraction. But tell me, you seem to be doing well academically and you're also socially sound. How did you manage it? Are you nocturnal in the sense that you read mostly at night? Because I remember when I was, there's a popular saying in the University of Ibadan that whether or not you want to pass, you must read. So you read to pass, you read to fail.
Yeah.
Anybody that fails in UM must have read. So it's all about reading, you must have read. So when do you read?
Yes, in that sense, I'm very nocturnal, like really. Because my days are always like really filled with activities, always filled with. But I did something when I went to Footmina in Niger State. So I went on Friday. The event was Saturday overnight. Then we ended around 7 a.m. in the morning. And the moment I got back inside the bus coming back, and it's Sunday. And I have an 8 a.m. exam in the University of Ibadan on Monday. So, well, I slept through most of the journey, and the moment I got back to UI, very tired and all, I had to bring my laptop out, go to the department. I use my department library for reading mostly at night. So I went there, I read till like 5 a.m. and I went to the exam. So what I'm saying is I'm always nocturnal because my days are always filled with a lot of activities.
So time management is key for you.
I think that's the singular thing that works for me, because before you might think you have time, before you know it, something would have crept into your time and eaten away most of your time. So I'm always big on time management. I think that's the most important factor that really worked for me, because it really does.
Chief, let's take it one step further.
Okay.
When I finished from the university too, one of my friends called me and said, Anu, would you like to apply for a scholarship? I said, what's that? I said, it's a scholarship for international global professionals. I don't want to mention the name specifically. So I said, okay, so what's up? So what's required? And the guy told me, what they require of you is 3,000 hours of work experience and 3,000 hours of leadership experience. The first thing I said was, Nibo Nikinteri. I mean, in Yoruba, it means like, where do I find this? Where do I get this? Many questions. I mean, I've seen a lot of people ask, when they get these questions, they say, how do you expect me to do that? Because the school does not even allow for you to have that much of time for yourself. There's not so much about extracurricular activities that is being talked about in the campus, except you are intentional. A few persons are intentional, some are into school student politics, others are into some other stuff that are extracurricular in nature. But a good number are just focused on academics. focused on doing what they have to do and all that. And eventually it tells, like we say, communication skills, sometimes zero, interpersonal skills, sometimes is lacking and all of that. So my question to you now is that, we have that in developed climes where for you to even, they're not asking if you have leadership experience or work experience, they're asking how many hours do you have. So so imagine 3,000 hours of work experience would take you sometimes more than a year, 2 years to have, depending on how many hours you're putting every day. So it tells the story that for every time, one has to be intentional about joining one club or the other. So in countries like United Kingdom, US, Canada, students are encouraged to be creative, to have ideas, to innovate, and and even fail. They want you to fail as part of learning, to fail forward. Not to fail backward. When you try many things and then you fail, they want you to still do something else and continue. So from your perspective, why do you think Nigeria has struggled to fully embrace the kind of holistic education model that applies to academics and also extracurricular activities?
Well, I mean, that's is still going to boil down to the challenge facing the education system, because it is not an isolated case. Because for us to have a robust education system that encompasses both learning outside classroom and the actual learning, it's going to draw us back to the clamor for the revitalization of the education system, because the current curriculum, the current structure of the education system is still kind of archaic, so we still need to elevate the current status quo, because from the curriculum, just look at it, we don't have the courses that reflect the emerging trends, because while you go abroad, you have something like AI as a course, so we don't have something like that. So it's until we are able to kind of revitalize the education system that we are going to have time to restructure our education system in a way that we don't only expect academics and grades from students, we expect their real life application,
so they can solve real life problems.
Yeah, so I think it's until we do that, because it's still kind of interrelated. It is not an isolation from the overall problem facing the education system.
All right. So let me get your thought on this. I know you've been in the thick of journalism as a student. So through journalism and student leadership, tell us, what practical skills have you learned that you think you have gained, talking, communication, critical thinking, confidence, that formal lectures never taught you? Formal classroom lectures.
I mean, as a student journalist, I've been able to, for two times in a row now, I've always get an unpaid flight expenses to Abuja to participate in what is regarded as Africa's biggest journalism conference, which is the Media and Development Conference by the CJID. So I've always been part of it. I was part of the conference in 2024. I was part of it last year. So, and as a student journalist, I've been able to write for many mainstream platforms, say the Tribune, Premium Times, several media houses. I was part of the Udemy cohort of the CGI, and what it does is investigative journalism. How I was trained to monitor procurement, investigate projects being done by government. There is no way I can get to learn this in the classroom. So it took getting hands-on experience, participating in all this to be able to do all this. So yeah, it's not something that can be taught in the classroom. It's as a result of my, as a result of my quest for
Chief, get me into this. Let's do an hypothetical situation.
Okay.
Imagine me as a Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, and I'm sat this morning with you. Tell me, what single policy or reform or agenda would you push to me that could immediately improve both academic standards and extracurricular student development?
Well, I mean, that will be reviewing the curriculum. Yes, we need a total overhaul of the university, the tertiary institution curriculum.
What do you want it to look like?
Yes, it should integrate more practical courses on, yeah, something like soft skills. Because, yeah, like I said, many students are still big on grades and CGPA and are so absorbed in it that they can't relate with people. So, I mean, having these soft skills as maybe probably a GS course in this going to be practical event, you don't need to take much lecture on that. Maybe the practical assessment is what they are going to be using for those courses. I mean, having something like that is definitely going to increase extracurricular participation among students.
Let's do a bit of politics. You've been able to move with people who have gained or garnered experience over time.
Yeah.
Like you said, you talk to professors, senior staff
Yeah.
of the University of Ibadan, and that's like a leverage that we can also depend on. So let's depend on that leverage quickly. Do you think Nigeria's political leaders understand modern education as they should? And is there anything they should do to apply ideas to really change in this rapidly changing world?
Well, I think in terms of the knowledge of Nigerian political leaders about education, I think the question, yeah, cannot be black and white, because while we've seen leaders who really knows and follow the essence of education, there are still some that doesn't. But overall, both the ones that knows and the one that doesn't know, they both are not doing much as they should towards the education system, because education as an aspect is not being really paid attention to by the government. Yeah, because that's why we still have something near shambolic system of education. Yeah, because for example, the funding that should go to education is not really going. So that's another factor that affects how education is being taught, how even the student themselves perceive education. So I think the Nigerian political leader needs to do better to education in order to increase the knowledge students have about education, so it will propel them to take education more than just classroom and theories, and get into the real life to get skills and all.
So let me round up on this topic. Something quite very powerful that we should talk about. Do you believe Nigeria, as a country, or the education system in the country, still have a way of competing globally, or are we fast running out of time? What do you think, in just a few words?
Well, the students, the Nigeria education system has a lot to do. Nigerian students can compete, yes. A few Nigerian students, not a large percentage actually, but many Nigerian students are competing. In fact, most of our now in Nigerian products, when they get out there, they are always competing with students who had access to the global standard of education. So what we need, I think, why there is still time to effect all these changes, I think there is a lot to be improved if we want the Nigerian education system to be at the same level with the global standard. There's a lot that still needs to be done.
All right. I mean, that's how much we can take on this. I wish we could have an elongated period of time, but perhaps someday, somehow, we'll still have this conversation. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
As we have heard today, the future belongs not just to the most brilliant minds, but to the most well-rounded individuals. Academic excellence opens doors, but all-round development teaches us how to walk through them, lead others, and thrive in a complex world. Nigeria doesn't need to choose one over the other. The real task is finding the balance. Many thanks to Chief Olanshile Ogunrinu for joining us this day. And I'm your host, Anulova Poido, and this has been the big story on Daybreak Live. The show continues as we switch our focus to Trendwatch segment, but that will be shortly after the break. Join us again.